remember, dads are people too. You're watching Beyond the Trailer's review of The Place Beyond the Pines.
My son and I should be around him. I wasn't around my dad. Look the way I turned out.
How are you going to take care of us?
Got a kid? You want to provide for that kid? You got to do that using your skill set. And your skill set? Shazam.
All right, everybody who wants to live, put your hands in the air.
105 in pursuit of suspect.
104, I got a visual on a motorcycle.
A few years ago, Fathers for Justice member Jason Hatch climbed onto Buckingham Palace dressed as Batman, one of the many stunts the UK organization regularly pulls off in protest of what they feel are biased laws when it comes to parenting. Yes, for centuries, mothers have been labeled the more important parent, which has earned them favoritism in court when it comes to custody battles. But as women look to gain ground in the office, men look to gain ground in the home. Just because a man doesn't give birth to his child, and obviously he can't, that doesn't mean he's not as capable, or perhaps even more capable, of caring for his child. And while Fathers for Justice might have gotten the ball rolling, now we're getting movies like The Place Beyond the Pines, which takes a look at the emotional toll of fatherhood and manhood. It's the final act of writer-director Derek Cianfrance's family trilogy after Brother Tide and Blue Valentine and his second flick with Ryan Gosling. Their first pairing resulted in a Golden Globe Best Actor nomination for Gosling, so it's no surprise they would team up yet again. Yet Gosling is also reteaming this year with his Drive director Nicholas Winding Refn for Only God Forgives. If he's not careful, co-star Bradley Cooper might poach Cianfrance, as he's hoping to bring the director on board for his upcoming Untitled Chef movie that Harvey Weinstein is producing. And Cooper is not just competing with Gosling for directors, but also hot yet serious actor status, having just come off of his own big year with Silver Linings Playbook. Who will win the Oscar first? It's likely to be a marathon rather than a sprint, as oddly the Academy is happy to give the gold to young actresses, but rarely their male counterparts. But with a spring release date, will The Place Beyond the Pines still be remembered by the time award season comes around? Midnight in Paris and Winter's Bone were both able to overcome spring releases and even benefited from the critical attention they were able to get in the less crowded season. Will this movie follow suit? Surely organizations like Fathers for Justice hope the Academy will remember it, as well as audiences.
So, I really enjoyed Blue Valentine. I hadn't seen it in theaters. I ended up getting it on demand later on when it came out, because everyone was talking about it for award season that year. But it was a good movie. I liked it, but again, you're just like, oh wow, isn't Ryan Gosling talented? Michelle Williams did a nice job. But overall, the whole package didn't really blow me away. I feel a lot stronger about The Place Beyond the Pines. But that said, while this film, it really did stick with me after I saw it, you have to trust it. It's a slow build. I wasn't like blown away every frame from the beginning. Like, it's not one of those movies where you're like, what am I watching? It's more like, what am I watching? And it pays off at the end, though. I think that Derek Cianfrance, the writer-director, does a nice job building it. And you really just have to trust him and trust where he's going, because he doesn't really telegraph it. Which, I think you can argue whether or not it's a good choice or a bad choice. Some people I could see maybe not going all the way through this movie, but I think that would be a mistake. I really like the focus, I talked about it in the open, on fathers. And not only just fathers, but the emotional toll of being a real guy, a guy in real life. I think, and that's something obviously I don't know anything about, but, not even from popular culture, I think it's rarely explored. I think when men are portrayed in pop culture, it's, these bigger-than-life characters, or they're going through something like really extraordinary, or they're superheroes, but they don't get the kind of attention that I think women do, that we get, like in rom-coms, like exploring how do women feel about life, what are their goals. I think that, some people might even say that's been explored like ad nauseum, but this is new. This kind of looking at what it's like for a guy is, I find it fascinating. It's the same reason that I used to sometimes, at the hair salon, this old hair salon I used to go to, they didn't have very many magazines, so I'd read GQ to be like, so what are guys thinking about? What's interesting to them? So I would kind of relate seeing this movie to that experience. I don't know what a guy's going to get out of watching it. I don't know if it rings true. So if you've seen the movie, write down below, if you're a guy, if you think Derek Cianfrance really hits the right notes and depicts it correctly. So obviously in a movie like this, you're going to have some really great acting. And I think that for the most part you do. Obviously, Ryan Gosling is the best in the film. He's fantastic. When he's not on screen, he really haunts the film. His character is so great. The other characters don't really have, I feel, a lot of emotional layering as much as his character, and I couldn't quite figure out if that was the actor's fault or if it's the writing just didn't care to develop him as much. But then when I see Ben Mendelsohn here in the movie, I think maybe it's the actor's fault, because Ben Mendelsohn does very much with very little here. He's very charismatic. He's on the same, I'd say he's on the same level as Ryan Gosling as an actor, which is maybe why their scenes are so compelling. And Ben Mendelsohn really, if you watch my review for Killing Them Softly, really stood out there. I'm excited for him as an actor, and I hope that Hollywood gives him a leading role soon instead of just these small supporting roles. I think he could pull it off. And speaking of careers, I think Derek Cianfrance is ready to move up at this point. He did a great job here. I loved the action sequences. I think his brand of realism really works for him. I think he has a voice as a director, and so he's ready to take it to the next level, if not, by going into mainstream films. I'm sorry, I'm a little sick still. I think that if not going into mainstream films, I think that he at least is ready to upgrade to a bigger budget. I'd like to see him do more. I don't want him to see him get too comfortable in this zone and kind of rest on his laurels. I think he needs to push himself. And I would actually say the same thing about Ryan Gosling. Ryan Gosling is a fantastic actor. This is another great Ryan Gosling performance. But I feel that he needs to also push himself. He needs to go up to a bigger movie, and I'm not talking like Gangster Squad where he just does it because he wants to do, keep himself diverse. I'm saying he needs to do a big, risky movie. He needs to find his Christopher Nolan, or Derek Cianfrance needs to go up to that next level with him. Maybe they can stay as a team. So, what do you think? If you've seen Beyond The Place Beyond the Pines, write your thoughts down below. I will say that's my only problem with the movie is the title. I think it doesn't reflect it all in the movie. It's actually what Schenectady, New York, what Schenectady stands for. That's where the movie takes place. The place isn't really a character in the movie, so I think they just didn't know what to name it. But so anyway, if you've seen the movie, write your own thoughts down below, and I hope you enjoyed my review. And as always, thank you for coming to Beyond the Trailer for reviews like this, audience reviews, movie news, trailers, and trailer reviews. Thanks for watching, and I hope you'll subscribe. Bye.